Have had a bad case, people dying. So if we could have that body together with the one for roads.
Did you raise that issue in the committee?
I did.
And then?
People didn't take it serious, but I'm sure this house can handle.
Yes, Asman.
Right, Honourable Speaker, I want to thank you, and I want to thank Papa Nathan.
He's calling Papa because he's an older man. Respect the elders.
Yes, is there a problem with that?
Sarah.
He raises a fundamental issue, but with due respect at a wrong time. If serious as your issue is, we'll have to consider it here. But even then, even if you raised it and the committee did not take it, the rules allow you, by the way, to present it here at committee stage, even as a member of the committee. The rules permit. So, Right Honourable Speaker, I want to implore Papa that the matter should be brought here, and we synthesize it from here when we reach that stage. And I'm coming there, we share points and we say how to do it. I thank you.
Okay, Chair, can you take us briefly?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to give a report of the Committee on Physical Infrastructure on the Building Control Amendment Bill 2025. Right Honourable Speaker, I beg to lay a copy of the report and the minutes of the meetings that processed this report.
I've had a bad case, people dying. Okay. So if we could have that body together with the one for roads.
Did you raise that issue in the committee?
Building Control Amendment
I did.
And
2024 was read.
People didn't take it serious, but I'm sure this house can handle.
2025 and referred to the Committee of Physical Infrastructure for consideration and report to the House.
Right Honourable Speaker, I want to thank you,
considered the bill
and I want
in
to thank
accordance
Papa.
with Rule 135 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament. Hereby
he's calling Papa because he's an older man. Respect the elders.
Yes, is
Right,
there a
Honourable
problem
Speaker,
with that?
the objective of the bill,
He raises
Building Control
a
Amendment
fundamental
Bill
issue,
2025
but
is
with
to
due
amend the
respect
Building
at a wrong
Control
time.
Act, Cap 136,
If
to provide for the composition of the National
serious as your
Board,
issue is,
to provide for
we'll
the
have
powers
to
of the
consider
board,
it here.
and
But
to
even
provide for the
then,
composition of the
even
building
if you raised it
and to streamline
the committee
procedure
did
for
not
approval
take
of building
it,
permits,
the rules allow you, by the way.
Right Honourable Speaker, in the interest of time, under methodology, I want to invite members to go through the list of stakeholders that the committee engaged in processing this report. Right Honourable Speaker, the committee analysis, observations and recommendations. 1. Composition of the board. Clause 1 proposes to amend Section 3 of the Building Control Act, Cap 136, to aligning the composition of the National Building Review Board to constitute of 9 members. The members include a representative of the ministry responsible for works, a representative of the ministry responsible for gender, a representative of the ministry responsible for lands, a representative of the ministry responsible for local governments, a representative from the Attorney General's chambers, 2 members of the public nominated by the minister, and 2 representatives from any of the following professions: an engineer, an architect, a physical planner, a surveyor, a lawyer, each representative nominated for appointment by the relevant professional body or association. Right Honourable Speaker, the provision of the Principal Act, which Clause 1 seeks to amend, states that, number 1, the board shall consist of A, 1 representative of the department responsible for building works, B, 1 representative of the department responsible for physical planning, C, 1 representative of the ministry responsible for water and environment, D, one representative of the department responsible for housing, a representative of the ministry responsible for persons with disabilities, and F, one representative of each of the following professions nominated for appointment by the relevant professional body or association: engineers, architects, physical planners, surveyors, lawyers, a public health officer from the Ministry of Health, a representative of persons with disabilities for appointment by the National Council for Disability, a representative for workers nominated for appointment by the National Trade and Union Centers, J, a representative of Uganda Local Authorities Association of Uganda, nominated for appointment by the Uganda Local Governments Association, K, a representative of Urban Authorities Association of Uganda, nominated for appointment by the Association of Urban Authorities. And then one person from the private sector nominated for appointment by the private sector foundations. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee considered the proposal and is in agreement with the principle to have a leaner board. Having a leaner board enhances efficiency in decision making, increases accountability, reduces administrative costs, and enhances oversight and governance. Whereas the committee agrees with the principle, the committee is concerned that there are a number of issues that may affect the effectiveness of this provision. For instance, the committee notes the need to specifically provide for representatives that are relevant to matters of building control from the ministries. The clause proposes a representative from the ministry responsible for gender and a representative from the ministry responsible for lands. The committee observes that in as far as sections of gender and lands components of the respective ministries, it is prudent to make specific reference to the relevant departments and the ministries, namely social development and housing, respectively. This will ensure effective implementation of the provision by guiding the ministries on the relevant representative for the board. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee also noted that the proposal of having 2 members of the public nominated by the minister on the board will pose serious implementation challenges regarding how the members of the public will be selected and the possibility of one of the members of the public becoming chairperson of such a technical board. Section 2, subsection 3 of the Building Control Act, Cap 136, mandates the minister to appoint all members of the board and designate as chairperson of the board one of the members. Furthermore, the committee observes that the proposal to have a lawyer on the board nominated by the relevant professional body or association, while also having a representative from the Attorney General's chambers, is unnecessary because any legal or compliance matters before the board can be addressed by the representative from the Attorney General's chambers, who is a professional lawyer. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee recommendation. In light of the above, the committee recommends that Clause 1 stands part of the bill, albeit with the amendment to A, specifically provide for a representative from the ministry responsible for social development and the ministry responsible for housing. B, delete the proposal to have 2 members of the public nominated by the minister as members of the board. C, delete the proposal to have a lawyer as a member of the board. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, functions of the board. Clause 2 of the bill proposes to amend Section 8 of the Principal Act to expand the functions of the National Building Review Board to hear and determine complaints from any person, a building control officer or a building committee. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee is in agreement with the proposal. However, the committee observes that the provision does not specify what the complaints made by any person, a building control officer, or a building committee will be in regard to. This gap is likely to be exploited by persons who may make complaints to the board on matters unrelated to the mandate of the board. The committee notes that the board should only hear and determine complaints on matters related to approval of building developments or building operations. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee recommendations. Based on the above analysis, the committee recommends that Clause 2 be adopted, albeit with the amendment to specify that the complaints heard and determined by the board shall be in relation to an approval for building development or building operation. Right Honorable Speaker, the Executive Secretary. Clause 4 proposes to amend Section 14 of the Principal Act by requiring that the Executive Secretary be a person with professional qualifications and experience in the building environment, and professional qualification and experiences in either law, management, or public administration. The provision of the Building Control Act, Cap 136, which Clause 4 seeks to amend, states that the Executive Secretary shall be a person with professional qualifications and experience in law, management, or public administration. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee examined the proposal under Clause 4 and appreciates the need for the Executive Secretary to have experience in the built environment, which is comprised of human constructed surroundings that support human activities, including buildings, transport systems, and landscapes. The committee is, however, concerned that the term built environment is overly broad, Right Honorable Speaker, as it encompasses the design, construction, management, and use of these structures as an interrelated system, impacting the behavior and well-being of the people who utilize them. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee is further concerned that practically a person cannot have qualifications in the built environment. However, a person may have qualifications in a particular profession, including engineering, architecture, valuation, and surveying, all of which are pertinent in or related to the built environment. The committee is therefore of the considered opinion that since the term built environment is incapable of exact definition, the term should be replaced with professional qualifications and experience in professions related to the built environment, such as engineering, architecture, and surveying. Recommendations, Right Honorable Speaker. The committee recommends that Clause 4 be adopted with amendments. A, remove the requirement for the Executive Secretary to have professional qualifications and experience in the built environment. B, expand the qualification for the Executive Secretary to include engineering, architecture, valuation, and surveying. Number 4, Right Honorable Speaker, building operations without permit prohibited. Clause 7 of the bill proposes to amend Section 33, subsection 2 of the Principal Act to increase the penalty for a person who carries out a building operation without a valid building permit issued by a building committee to a fine of 1 currency point for every square meter or per linear meter, whichever might be applicable, of the build-up area, or imprisonment not exceeding 2 years or both. Right Honorable Speaker, the provision of the Building Control Act, Cap 136, which Clause 7 seeks to amend, states that any person who contravenes subsection 1 commits an offense and is liable on conviction to a fine not exceeding 50 currency points or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 2 years or both. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee considered the provision and is in agreement with the principle to increase the penalty for the offense. This is progressive, since it will go a long way in addressing the rise in erection of illegal structures and the collapse of buildings in the country. Right Honorable Speaker, whereas the committee is agreeable in principle, it is concerned that the penalty is still not commensurate with the gravity of the offense. The committee notes the increase in the number of illegal structures across the country being erected by persons who have not obtained building permits, and worse still, the rise in the number of structures that collapse and claim multiple lives and property in the country. The committee therefore observes the need to increase the fine to 2 currency points for every square meter or per linear meter, whichever might be applicable, of the build-up area, or imprisonment not exceeding 5 years or both, in order to put more stringent measures in place to deter people from carrying out building operations without valid building permits. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee recommendation. Based on the above analysis, the committee recommends that Clause 7 be adopted, albeit with the amendment to enhance the penalty for the offense of carrying out a building operation without a building permit. Application for building permit. Right Honorable Speaker. Clause 8 of the bill proposes to amend Section 34 of the bill to define what amounts to a multi-storied structure or building as a building of a height of more than 6 meters. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee observes that the amendment is intended to guide persons making applications for building permits. The committee agrees with the provision. However, it is concerned that a building of more than 6 meters may not always be a multi-storied building. Certain structures such as warehouses usually have a height of more than 6 meters, but are not necessarily deemed to be multi-storied in nature. The committee notes that the need to increase the meters in height for a building to qualify as a multi-storied building to 12 meters. Recommendations, right Honorable Speaker. In light of the above, the committee recommends that Clause 8 stands part of the bill, albeit with the amendment to increase the meters in height for a building to qualify as a multi-storied structure or buildings. Right Honorable Speaker, the procedure for issuing building permits. Clause 9 of the bill proposes to amend Section 35 of the Principal Act to streamline the procedure for approval of building permits where the building committee fails to make a decision on the application for a building permit. The clause proposes that where a building committee fails to make a decision on an application for a building permit within the period specified, the applicant may make a complaint to the chief administrative officer in the case of a district or the town clerk in the case of an urban council. The committee observed that the use of the term in this section is very broad and applies also to the proposed subsection 9. The committee notes the need to limit the application of the proposed subsection 8 to subsection 1, which requires a building committee to issue a building permit to the applicant within 30 days after the date of receipt of the application for a building permit. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee also observes that the bill does not provide an avenue to an applicant where a building committee, after having been directed by the chief administrative officer in the case of a district or the town clerk in the case of an urban council, still fails to make a decision on the application for a building permit. The committee is of the considered opinion that in the interest of justice and in line with the proposal to expand the powers of the board to hear and determine complaints from any person, a building control officer or a building committee under Clause 2, there is a need to provide an appeal mechanism to the board where a building committee fails to make a decision on an application for a building permit after having been directed to do so by the chief administrative officer or the town clerk, as the case may be. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee recommendation. In light of the above, the committee recommends that Clause 9 stands part of the bill, albeit with the amendment to A. Make specific reference to subsection 1, which requires a person to obtain a building permit. B. Provide for an appeal by the applicant to the board where the building committee fails to make a decision on an application following a directive by the chief administrative officer or the town clerk. Number 7, the building operations subject to time limit. Right Honorable Speaker, Clause 11 proposes to amend Section 37 of the Principal Act to replace the fine for a person who carries on a building operation in contravention of Section 37 from a fine not exceeding 25 currency points to a fine of 1 currency point per square meter or per linear meter, whichever might be applicable of the build-up area after the expiry of the building permit. Right Honourable Speaker, whereas the committee is agreeable in principle, it is concerned that the penalty is still not commensurate with the gravity of the offence. The committee notes the increase in number of illegal structures across the country being erected by persons who have not obtained building permits, and worse still, the rise in the number of structures that collapse and claim multiple lives and property countywide. The committee observes the need to increase the fine to 2 currency points for every square meter or per linear meter, whichever might be applicable, of the built-up area in order to put more stringent measures in place to deter people from carrying out building operations without valid building permits. Right Honourable Speaker, the committee recommendation. In light of the above, the committee recommends that Clause 11 stands part of the bill, albeit with the amendment to enhance the penalty for the offence of carrying on a building operations beyond the time limit prescribed by the law. Right Honourable Speaker, the use of unconventional methods, technologies, and materials for building. Clause 14 proposes to amend the Principal Act by providing for use of unconventional methods, technologies, and materials for building. The clause empowers the minister by notice in the Gazette on recommendation of the board to approve the use of unconventional methods, technologies, and material for building. Right Honourable Speaker, the committee examined the proposal and is in agreement with the principle to regulate the use of unconventional methods, technologies, and materials for building. The committee was informed that unconventional methods are essential in shaping a more resilient, inclusive, and sustainable future in the built environment. They can lead to more sustainable, cost-effective, and innovative building solutions, often addressing limitations of conventional approaches. They can also improve construction speed, reduce waste, and enhance the overall performance of buildings. Right Honourable Speaker, the committee, however, observes that the use of the term for building limits the purposes for which unconventional methods, technologies, and materials can be used. The Principal Act provides a definition for building operations, which is in a broader and more encompassing term to be used in this provision. Section 1 of the Building Control Act, Cap 136, defines the term building operations to mean any act done in relation to the following. A, the erection of a building. 2, the demolition of a building. C, any temporary work on a permanent building. D, plumbing. E, drainage. F, repairs, renovations, alterations, and extensions of a building. G, erosion control works. Or H, the installation of utilities, including electricity and gas. Right Honourable Speaker, the committee is of the considered opinion that for effective implementation of this provision, the use of unconventional methods, technologies, and materials be in regard to building operations. Recommendations, Right Honourable Speaker. In light of the above, the committee recommends that Clause 14 stands part of the bill, albeit with the amendment to using a term that is broader in application than the term for building. Right Honourable Speaker, occupation permit. Clause 15 proposes an amendment to Section 43 to streamline the procedure for approval of occupation permits, where the building committees fails to make a decision on the application of an occupation permit. The clause proposes that where a building committee fails to make a decision on an application for a building permit within the period specified, the applicant may make a complaint to the Chief Administrative Officer in the case of a district or the town clerk in the case of an urban council. The committee observed that the use of the term in this section is very broad and applies also to the proposed subsection 7. Right Honourable Speaker, the committee notes the need to limit the application of the proposed subsection 6 to subsection 1, which requires a building committee to issue a building permit to the applicant within 30 days after the date of receipt of the application for a building permit. The committee also observes that the bill does not provide an avenue to an applicant where a building committee, after having been directed by the Chief Administrative Officer in the case of a district or the town clerk in the case of an urban council, still fails to make a decision on the application for a building permit. The committee is of the considered opinion that in the interest of justice and in line with the proposal to expand the powers of the board to hear and determine complaints from any person, a building control officer or a building committee in clause 2. There is need to provide an appeal mechanism to the board where a building committee fails to make a decision on an application for a building permit, after having been directed to do so by the chief administrative officer or the town clerk, as the case may be. Right Honourable Speaker, the committee also recommends that in light of the above, clause 15 stands part of the bill, albeit with the amendment to A, makes specific reference to subsection 1, which requires a person to obtain a building permit. B, provide for an appeal by the applicant to the board where the building committee fails to make a decision on an application following a directive by the chief administrative officer or the town clerk. Right Honourable Speaker, the general observations on the bill. The committee notes that there is need to define the term urban council used in the bill. This need arises majorly due to the fact that the Local Governments Act, Cap 138, in section 1, defines urban council to include city, municipal division, and town council. The committee was informed by the National Building Review Board that currently building committees only exists at the city, district, and municipality, and therefore there is a need to define what an urban council means for purposes of the Building Control Act, Cap 136. The committee observed that to ensure effective implementation of the bill, there is need to include definition of the term urban council. Right Honourable Speaker, the committee therefore recommends that a provision is made in the bill for the definition of urban council. Right Honourable Speaker, I beg to report.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, when you look at occupational permit, you're talking about the urban council, the town clerk, in the case of the district, and then cow in the case of the district, and then the other. What about in the case of a city? Don't we need to align it in line with the new administrative units?
Much obliged, Right Honourable Speaker. I think in the case of the city clerk, consequential amendment can come in.
Yes, it should be across the board. Where there is an amendment on that, it should bring issues of the city too. Any other? In the ample sense of, yes, Laura.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I have a comment on the issue of the composition of the board. I think that the committee is proposing the removal of a representative of persons with disabilities. I would like...
No. They are removing a persons who have been... if you look specifically, provide for representation from the ministry responsible for social development and ministry for housing. Delete a proposal to have a member of the public nominated by the minister as a member of the board, and then delete the proposal to have a lawyer as a member of the board. They are deleting 3.
So they are not removing the representative of persons with disabilities?
Chair, you're removing a person with a person representing disabilities. They are not.
Right Honourable Speaker, like you noted, we are not going to delete persons with disabilities.
And the essence of deleting a lawyer is that because we have somebody from AG's office, the issue of deleting 2 persons from the public is that we have somebody nominated by the public sector. I think they are removing what is being duplicated.
Most obliged, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Honourable members, yes, Christine.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Still on the composition, there is a provision of bringing on 2 people. Honourable Speaker, somebody well acquainted with public health should be part of that, other than leaving the appointment of two people whose professions may not be known. We would rather put specifically a person well known in public health than leaving it open.
When you look at F, one person of each of the following professions nominated for appointment by a relevant professional body or association. One is engineers, but I want to take you to G, a public health officer from the ministry responsible for health. It is one of the people. You have the report, Christine? Yes, it is one of them. Yes, Doctor? And Bish?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Speaker. I appreciate the Chair and the members for the report. I just wanted to get a clarification on one or two issues. Issue number one is the representation of someone from an environmental background, given the need for us to have environmentally friendly buildings. The second is related to access and the respect of road reserves. A case in point is where building committees approve structures near the road. For example, if you move from Chira along that road, there are buildings that have been put, and I believe approved by a committee on the road or road reserves, and now are becoming a liability to the government to compensate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
I hope you're taking note, Chair.
Right Honourable Speaker, I would like to take this opportunity, first of all, to congratulate you upon the win of last week, but also I would like to raise an issue on the height, because the report as it is, it suggests that 12 meters would mean that a 4-story building might not need a building plan. So I think we need to be very...
No, I think you did not hear it very well. Whatever building it is, it requires a building plan. It requires, it is in the report. And what I would advise you members, let's wait and go to the clauses. And we discuss clause by clause so that we make amendment on the clause. That would be something which is better. Yes?
Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker. Madam Speaker, can I get clarification from the committee chair? Because at the end, they are bringing the matter of the town council and they want to change the definition of an urban council. Yet it's already, the town council is already catered for under the district level. So where are they finding?
We shall look at that on interpretation.
Thank you.
When we are defining what a town council is.
Thank you.
Yes, youth.
Honourable Speaker, first of all, congratulations on your recent win. Secondly, I want to thank the government for finally picking interest and bringing this bill forward. As professionals in the building sector, we are very excited. However, Honourable Speaker, I want to note when the chair was reading the report, it is something that perhaps could have disturbed the committee when they were discussing on the issue of built environment being brought. I understand it could have caused some issues, but when I look at it, when you say engineering and the surveying, you lock out so many professionals who are under the School of Built Environment. There are so many, including land economics, land surveying, and all that. All those have knowledge of the built environment. So I request that when we are doing clause by clause, we think about that we could be locking out some people from being executive secretaries, and yet they have knowledge of construction. Thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am, yes, Hilary.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Congratulations. I'm also looking on the issue of utility companies like power and water. Because, for example, they don't include them in the plans when they are making designs. Because you find that even after construction, you find that the utility companies come and destroy some of the plans that have been put in place. So there should be agreements or MOUs in place so that when the plans are done, even utility companies should be part of those agreements and MOUs. I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Okay. We are talking about the board, building board. And we are also looking at who should be part of that board. And the committee gives specifications that the board should be represented by persons, and it gives the number of the names, the qualifications, persons with a disability, the surveyors, the engineers. So the Honorable Hillary is saying you should also bring those persons with the utilities. Yes, Kubex.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. The way I look at the report, something to do with the sanctions of whoever builds in a road reserve is not clearly put. So maybe in our amendments we need to be very stringent, because there are other countries where if you have we
are looking at a person who builds, who does not follow the standards,
yes,
and the quality of the building. That is the sanctions that was given. Not so, Chair. If you don't follow these collapsing buildings and whichever.
Madam Speaker, was adding that in other countries, when you build in a road reserve.
Now, those ones of road reserves are in the Road Act. Let's not mix it. Road Act has those who build in the road reserve. Now, these ones are those who don't comply with the quality and the standards of the building. And then, so there is a law to that.
Okay. Madam Speaker, I had two. The second one is about the other meter, where he said that if it is 6 meters, that it may not require a plan. I don't agree with him, because we need to have a stronger foundation right from the beginning. But should you say that you move it to 12? I think that one is not proper. So I would also urge that when we go to the amendments, let's leave the 6 meters as a minimum. I thank you.
Thank you. Chair, do you want to make a clarification?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. In regards to the height of a building, for it to be considered a storied or not of the 6 meters, the reasoning in our engagement with the stakeholders at the committee was that 6 meters may also include some warehouses that are built to that height. So we thought in principle that we could raise it to 12.
That is on the length?
Yes.
Not on the width.
Yes.
He's talking about the width because that's where we talk about the foundation.
Yes, sir.
That's all?
Right Honorable Speaker, allow me touch on the built environment background. We thought we should have because the built environment may not be so specific. Somebody with a built environment background as a profession. So we thought we could get a dichotomy of these professions of engineers, the architects, like the Honorable Rugumai said, we can actually also make an amendment to include also the land economics. And then the urban council. Like we said, the definition of the urban council refers majorly to cities and municipalities. So we can also make considerations for the town councils to be encompassed in that. And then, like you rightly said, when we're talking about sanctions on those who default on some of these regulations, we actually did not include the issue of those who build on the road reserve because we thought it was included in the Road Act. Thank you.
Honorable members, I put a question that the Building Control Amendment Bill 2025 be read for the second time. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
The Building Control Amendment Bill 2025, Bills Committee stage. Clause 1.
Chair, you have a new clause. Do you have a new clause? Or you go to clause 1? Before clause 1?
Right, Honorable Chair, insertion of new clause. The bill is amended by inserting immediately before clause 1 the following. Amendment of section 1 of Building Control Act, Cap 136. The Building Control Act, Cap 136, in this act referred to as the Principal Act, is amended in section 1 by inserting immediately after the definition of surveyor the following. Urban council includes city council and municipal council. Justification: to define a term that is used in the bill and limit application of the term urban council to a city council and municipal council. Clause 1. Amendment of sections 3.
No, that is first leave that. That is the insertion. Minister, are you okay with that?
Madam Chair, I agree with the committee proposal.
Thank you. I put a question that the proposal for a new clause stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it. Clause 1. Clause 1 is interpretation. Can we stand over the interpretation? Then we come back to it. Yes. Clause. Is it what? Board? Okay.
Clause 1. Amendment of section 3 of the Building Control Act, Cap 136. Clause 1 is substituted for the following. Amendment of section 3 of the Principal Act. The Principal Act is amended in section 3 by substituting for subsection 1 the following. The board shall consist of 9 members as follows. A, 1 representative of the ministry responsible for works, 1 representative of the ministry responsible for social development, 1 representative of the ministry responsible for housing, 1 representative of the ministry responsible for local governments, 1 representative from the Attorney General's chambers, and 1 representative from each of the following professions nominated for appointment by the relevant professional body: engineering, architecture, physical planning, and surveying. Justification: to specifically provide for representatives from the ministry responsible for social development and the ministry responsible for housing. 2, to delete the proposed paragraph F, which may be subject to abuse due to lack of a clear criteria for the minister to appoint the 2 members of the public to the board. And 3, to remove a lawyer from representation on the board under the proposed paragraph G, since the board has a representative from the Attorney General's chambers. Remove.
So where are people with disabilities represented?
Yeah, Honorable Chair.
No, just hold on. People with disabilities are represented where? Is it under the Ministry of Social Development?
It is under the Ministry of Social Development.
Yes.
Honorable Chair, I propose we make it very specific. Under Ministry responsible for social development, we say that will be Department for Persons with Disability. So it is specific than putting it blind, so that people with disability are covered. They should be represented in the board. Thank you.
Honorable Chair, you find most of the buildings that we have now in Uganda do not cater for persons with a disability. So it is very important for us to be specific that there must be a person with a disability for that person to cater for the rest of the people. If you say that it should be under the Minister of Social Development may bring a woman, may bring a youth, may bring a...
Much obliged. I think we should dichotomize it to include people with disability, the Department of People with Disability.
To be brought by the Ministry of Gender.
Yes, Ministry of Gender.
A person, yes, yeah. A person responsible for social development to bring a person with a disability.
Chair.
Is that okay with the minister?
Chair.
Just a minute.
Madam Chair, I agree with the idea of making representation from people with disabilities explicit and specific,
yes,
as has been proposed.
Thank you. Yes, youth.
Chair, whereas we are proposing to echo the representation of persons with disabilities, buildings can be gender sensitive in several ways. Urban buildings now should be sensitive to lactating mothers, should be sensitive to occupational safety. So when we ask gender to bring a representative, it should be someone who should encompass all those values in the building, not only persons with disabilities. Or we can say we get someone, a representative from Ministry of Gender, but also clearly indicate that there is someone who represents the persons with disabilities. But leaving out gender and substituting it with persons with disabilities.
What we are saying, gender should bring a person with a disability. Specific. Because under gender we have women, we have youth, we have persons with a disability. And remember here we are looking at, we have people coming from housing. You cannot restrict housing to bring people, a person with a disability.
Chair.
You have somebody from Wolga.
Right Honorable, you are on point. The issue of gender is constitutional for all boards and committees. So I think in this particular case, the Ministry in charge of social development, the issue of disability, the ramps and the aspects, for me, overrides. But of course, we shall make sure that the gender aspect, which is a constitutional matter for all boards, is respected.
Can we say one representative of a PWDs nominated by a minister responsible for gender. Yes. Is that okay?
I thank you for that special recognition. But like my colleague was bringing out, also as environmentalists would be comfortable to see environmental matters being recognized in this building sector. So I would think that as and when would like to co-opt some, there could be a provision for co-opting some of these professionals as and when it is necessary. Because here you are only considering people with disability, environmental standards have to be observed, then somebody will say we need an environmentalist on the board.
Environmental matters is a cross-cutting thing. Now, even as accountants, we are going to say we also need accountants in this, because bills of quantity. Yes, bills of quantity. Even anyway, I put a question that clause 1 be amended as proposed. Those in favor stand, the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 1 as amended.
I put a question that clause 1 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor stand, the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 2.
Chair.
Right Honorable Chair, Clause 2, amendment of Section 8 of the Principal Act. Clause 2 is amended by substituting for the proposed paragraph A the following. Hear and determine complaints from a building control officer.
Paragraph EA.
Paragraph EA. Hear and determine complaints from a building control officer, a building committee, or any person in relation to a building or building operation. The justification: to clarify that the complaint shall be in relation to a building or building operation, and for better drafting.
Honorable Minister.
Madam Chair, I agree with the committee position.
Thank you. I put a question that clause 2 be amended as proposed. Those in favor stand, the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 2 as amended.
I put a question that clause 2 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor stand, the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 3.
Clause 3, no amendment. I put a question that clause 3 stands part of the bill. Those in favor stand, the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 4.
Clause 4.
Right Honorable Chair, Clause 4, amendment of Section 14 of the Principal Act. Clause 4 is amended by substituting for the proposed subsection 2 the following. Subsection 2, the Executive Secretary shall be a person with professional qualifications and experience in engineering, architecture, surveying, law, management, or public administration. Justification: to remove the requirement for the Executive Secretary to have professional qualifications and experience in the built environment, since built environment is neither a profession nor is the phrase built environment capable of exact definition. And then to expand the qualifications for the Executive Secretary to include engineering, architecture, valuation, and surveying.
Chair.
On clause 4?
Yes, on the same.
Yes.
Honorable.
You raised an issue of economy.
Yes. When we restrict to surveying, engineering, the reason as to why the bill proposes built environment, because that school encompasses many professionals. For example, I just noted land economists, but there are also urban planners who are very much qualified in the same. There are also construction managers. For example, if I can take an example, the School of Built Environment at Makerere alone has over 8 courses.
First, tell the House what built environment is.
So, built environment encompasses professions like surveying, urban planning. It encompasses issues like construction management, quantity surveying, land surveying and geomatics. All these are people who have information or professional knowledge about built environment. So what I would suggest is we go ahead with engineering, architecture, but also include all persons with professional knowledge in the school, in built environment, to encompass all of them, because in future, such a law can be used to segregate them and knock them off from taking that particular management job. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Chair. Right Honorable Chair, the committee interfaced with various stakeholders over this matter, and after consultations came up with this proposal.
Let's first sort out what...
I want to agree with him, Right Honorable Chair, and that is why I am saying that
built environment.
Built environment is
Now,
not a qualification.
Just a minute. The term built environment refers to a human-made surrounding that provide a setting for human activity, ranging in scales from building and parks or green space to neighborhood and cities that can often include their supporting infrastructure such as water supply and energy network. That is the definition of built environment. So you said you wanted to replace what with built environment?
What I was suggesting, Chair, is that whereas the committee proposes to be specific that there should be engineers, surveyors, architects, the word built environment was coined and put there to encompass many other professionals that are not clearly indicated like these. I noted them: land economists, urban planners, land valuers, land surveyors. All these are people with professional knowledge in the built environment. So you cannot limit them by only restricting it to architects, surveyors, and that. Thank you, Richard.
Now, in your proposal, you're saying we'll maintain the bill as it was without changing. Chairperson. A committee, you need to appreciate what it's talking about. And that means if we go by what Honorable Youth is saying, then it stands part of the bill.
Thank you. Right Honorable Chair, the Honorable colleague raises a pertinent issue. I think it's important that all the professions that are umbrellaed under the built environment should be catered for. So I think his case makes a point. We concede.
Thank you. Honorable members, I put a question that clause 4 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 5.
I put a question that clause 5 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 6.
I put a question that clause 6 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 7.
Chair.
Right Honorable Chair, Clause 7, amendment of Section 33 of the Principal Act. Clause 7 is amended in the proposed subsection 2. A, by substituting for the phrase 1 currency point, the phrase 2 currency points. B, by substituting for the phrase 2 years, the phrase 5 years. Justification: to enhance the penalty for the offense of carrying out a building operations without a building permit.
Minister, a deterrent. Honorable Minister, we are moving from 2 to 5 years because we don't want these people to start building houses that are...
Yeah, right, Honorable. It's justified, but I'm looking at the magnitude of penalty. One currency point is 20,000 shillings per square meter. Multiply by the square meters in that.
One currency point for every square meter.
Every square meter.
So the committee is saying we make it 2 currency points per square meter.
Since we are moving progressively to improving the building environment, I think it's too much to move so drastically to 5 years imprisonment, 40,000 multiplied by the square meters in a building. I think I would retain the 20,000, the ones.
Members, what do you think?
Yeah.
Chair, to have a debate on penalties, I think would drag us on for so long. Indeed, if you say a currency point per square meter, it is a good penalty. But is it deterrent enough? That is what we should think of. Because we have many people who are forcefully constructing, ignoring the recommendations and approved plans. So is it deterrent enough? That is what should be the question. So I think 2 would be good.
Honourable members, the essence of these penalties is to prohibit people from doing wrong things. You get it, eh? Prohibit. If you know you're not going to do, you're not going to have... You do the right thing and then you don't get the penalty. Now, when you're a wrongdoer, should you be given a lenient punishment?
Right, Honorable, we concede as government. This is okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Honourable members, I put a question that clause 7 be amended as proposed. Those in favour say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 7 as amended.
I put a question that clause 7 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favour say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 8.
Chair.
Right Honourable Chair. Clause 8. Amendment of Section 34 of the Principal Act. Clause 8 is amended in paragraph B in the proposed subsection 3A by substituting for the word 6 the word 12. Justification: to increase the meters in height for a building to qualify as a multi-storied structure.
Yes, Honourable Bish.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. On this one, this is what I was talking about earlier. When you increase the height to 12, it would mean that a 4-storied building may not qualify. So I am suggesting that we leave it at 6 meters for purposes of this bill.
Honourable Minister.
Madam Chair, I agree with the amendment as proposed by the committee.
Thank you.
Chair, I'm of the opinion that 6 meters, you see, in engineering, it is not a gamble. It is facts. Now, when I'm constructing a residential house, I am certain that should I provide for all issues like aeration and what, the maximum I should go is, let's say, 4 meters above. Now, when you say, because they are warehouses, we shouldn't categorize them, the structural engineer has to provide for the structural forces of that building. If it is 6 meters, it can be a warehouse of 6 meters above ground, but with forces acting on it equivalent to a storage building. So what I would propose is we leave it as it is, because either way, it would not make sense to have a building that is standing at 6 meters. It would not make any sense, and consider it as a normal building. It's not a normal building. There are strange forces already acting on it. So I'd propose that planning, special planning, be done for such a particular building, because there are unique structural forces acting on such a building. Thank you, Right Honourable.
Right Honourable Chair, the decision to increase the levels to 12 was arrived at in consideration of other structures that have been built in this country, like the warehouses, where you find it stands at about 7 or even more than 7 meters. So will we be able to consider those as storage buildings?
No. Okay. So we go with the committee proposal. I put a question that clause 8 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 8 as amended.
Understand what is saying, that you have buildings where, like what he says, and they're about 7 meters. Do you consider that a storage building? Singost.
Chair, we are making a law that will stand generations. What I think we should consider is maybe making exceptions for warehouses, but not...
No, we have not made exemption for warehouse. We can't make exemption in the law. We can do it in the regulation, not in the law.
Yes, but what I would think of any building above 6 meters, Chair, you would start thinking differently as a designer. You'd start thinking differently, because this is normal, is not a normal building anymore. So I would propose that we maintain the 6 meters.
No, we can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that. Yeah.
Right Honourable, I think we take note of the comment of the member, Honourable Member, but it would be fallacious to say a single building, although it is up to 6, becomes multi-storied. So for me, I think your guidance is right. Those are details we can define in the regulation next to the law.
Clause 8 as amended.
I put a question that clause 8 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor stand the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 9.
Chair.
Right Honourable Chair, Clause 9, amendment of Section 35 of the Principal Act. Clause 9 is amended in paragraph B, A, in the proposed subsection 8, by substituting for the words in this section, the words under subsection 1. B, by inserting immediately after the proposed subsection 9, the following. 10, where a building committee fails to make a decision on an application for a building permit within the period specified in subsection 9, the applicant may appeal to the board. Justification, Right Honourable Chair, to make specific reference to subsection 1, which requires a person to obtain a building permit. 2, to provide for an appeal by the applicant to the board where the building committee fails to make a decision on an application following a directive by the chief administrative officer or the town clerk.
Oh, what about cities? a town clerk. Okay. It is a cow and a town clerk or city clerk.
Right, Honorable Chair, like we noted earlier, to take care of the city, we can think of having the city clerk.
Thank you. I put a question. Minister.
I think, Chair, the committee chair is right, because in the interpretation, we are making an interpretation of urban council to include city and municipal council. So if the city clerk needs to be defined and differentiated from the municipal clerk, then we can do that in the interpretation.
Thank you. I put a question that clause 9 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 9 as amended.
I put a question that clause 9 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 10.
I put a question that clause 10 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 11.
Chair.
Right, Honorable Chair. Clause 11, amendment of Section 37 of the Principal Act. Clause 11 is amended in paragraph B by substituting for the words 1 currency point, the words 2 currency points. Justification: to enhance the penalty for the offense of carrying on a building operation beyond the time limit prescribed by the law.
That's a consequential amendment from the other amendment. Minister.
Madam Chair, as you have said, this is a consequential amendment consistent to what we adopted earlier. I therefore agree with the amendment.
Thank you. I put a question that clause 11 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 11 as amended.
I put a question that clause 11 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 12.
I put a question that clause 12 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 13.
I put a question that clause 13 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 14.
Chair.
Right, Honorable Chair, clause 14, insertion of section 41A in the Principal Act. Clause 14 is amended in the proposed section 41A by substituting for the words "for building" in the head note, and wherever the words appear in the provision, the words "in building operations." Justification: the term building operations is defined in Section 1 of the Building Control Act, and it is broader in application compared to the word building when used in the context of Clause 14.
Honorable Minister.
Madam Chair, the intention is good, and I therefore agree with
Thank
the
you.
committee.
I put a question that clause 14 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 14 as amended.
I put a question that clause 14 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 15.
Chair.
Right, Honorable Chair, clause 15, amendment of section 43 of the Principal Act. Clause 15 is amended A in the proposed subsection 6 by substituting for the phrase "in this section" the phrase "under subsection 2. B, by inserting immediately after the proposed subsection 7 the following: subsection 8, where a building committee fails to make a decision on an application for an occupation permit within the period specified under subsection 7, the applicant may appeal to the board. Justification: to make specific reference to subsection 2 which provides for the period of a building committee to make a decision on an application for an occupation permit. Number 2, to provide for an appeal to the board by an applicant where a building committee fails to make a decision on an application for an occupation permit within the period specified by the Chief Administrative Officer or the Town Clerk.
Minister.
Madam Chair, I agree with the amendment.
I put a question that clause 15 be amended as proposed. Those in favor send the contrary nay. You can't even answer. The ayes have it.
Clause 15 as amended.
I put a question that clause 15 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor send the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 16.
I put a question that clause 16 stands part of the bill. Those in favor send the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 17.
I put a question that clause 17 stands part of the bill. Those in favor send the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 18.
I put a question that clause 18 stands part of the bill. Those in favor send the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 19.
I put a question that clause 19 stands part of the bill. Those in favor send the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 20.
I put a question that clause 20 stands part of the bill. Those in favor send the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Title.
Definition. I put a question that the title stands part of the bill. Those in favor send the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Motion for resumption of the House.
Honorable Minister.
Right Honorable Chair, I beg to move that the House do resume and the Committee of the Whole House reports thereto.
I put a question that the House resumes and the Committee of the Whole House reports thereto. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Report of the Committee of the Whole House.
Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole House has considered the bill entitled the Building Control Amendment Bill 2025 and passed it with amendments.
Motion for adoption of the report of the Committee of the Whole House.
Minister. Honorable Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move a motion that the report from the Committee of the Whole House be adopted.
I put a question that the report of the Committee of the Whole House be adopted by this august House. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Bill's third reading, the Building Control Amendment Bill 2025.
Honorable Minister.
Madam Speaker.
Why were you sleeping when the bill was moving? Now you want to recommit.
Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the bill entitled, I beg to move a motion that the bill entitled the Building Control Amendment
have
Bill
silence?
2025 be read for the third time and do pass. You can now do what you want.
Honorable Ethel, do you have marital interest here?
Madam Speaker, not only am I married to an engineer, but I have knowledge of architectural engineering.
So what committee? Do you want?
I was please requesting that we recommit Clause 8 on the matter of the distance, the height for a structure to be considered as a multi-storied structure. Because from the engineering professionals,
can
as
you
long as
rephrase what you want to be recommitted?
Madam Speaker, I'm requesting the House to recommit Clause 8 on the matter of on 3B, where we are having it's on Clause 8, where we have the matter of multi-storied structure or building to be considered for 6 meters. And the house, we've agreed 12 meters, which is, according to engineers,
so you want
not
6
okay.
meters, not 12.
Yes, that's what I'm asking the House to recommit, because it's an engineering matter. Thank you.
Those in favor of recommittal, say on the contrary, nay. The nays have it. Continue.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move a motion that the bill entitled the Building Control Amendment Bill 2025 be read for the third time and do pass.
I put a question that the Building Control Amendment Bill 2025 be read the third time and do pass. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
A bill for an act titled the Building Control Amendment Act 2025.
The title is settled and the bill has been passed. Congratulations. Honourable members, House adjourned to 2 tomorrow.